Hello and welcome to Reader Dreamers Other Short Stories podcast. I'm Cecilia, your host.
And I'm Gemma, and today we're going to be talking about
our books that we've been reading this summer. So last time I made an episode, it was like a month ago or something, a little over a month, and I talked about the books I was going to read, and I said I would come back in a month or so, tell you how they were going, if I was still reading them. So today's turned out to be a good day to do it, so we're doing it today, and Gemma will also talk about what she's been reading, and we'll just review these books, and if they're worth reading, we will tell you to read them.
Recommend.
Yeah, we'll recommend them. Alright, so Gemma, because we didn't hear about what your reading plan this summer was, let's hear what you've been reading, and then we can review.
Recently Cecilia told me about this, series. It's called The Warriors Cats, and I'm sure a lot of you know about it. There's books and there's graphic novels. Right now I'm reading the graphic novels. I am hoping to read the books later. It's basically about these cats who live in clans who are just trying to survive, and little stories about them, and I've been reading a lot of those recently. But after I'm done with all the graphic novels, I'm hoping to read the actual books.
Yeah, and there's also different, the author has different things besides cats, like polar bears. I think they have
Survivors is dogs.
Dogs, and just different animals. But yeah, so she's been reading The Warrior Cats. Is there anything else you've been reading, or any book you've read that you want to not just series, but a certain book that stood out to you?
Not really. I mean, I read Nancy Drew, but nothing like that new besides that.
Alright, so what has been your favorite read so far this summer, and what would you review it?
Warrior Cats graphic novel. They're always interesting.
Which one though?
Which one?
Yeah, which Nancy Drew book, which graphic novel?
I forget what it's called. What one is yours? Stranger
in the Sky Clan or something?
Yes, something like that. And that's my favorite. I like that one a lot. I rate it 9.9. Just
wow.
9. No, not 9.9.
That's pretty high praise.
Just 9 out of 10. And my favorite Nancy Drew book is either The Mystery of the Velvet Mask, I think is what it's called, or the Clue of the Dancing Puppet. Those are both really good.
Yeah. All right. So, what are those two books about? What's the Stranger in the Sky Clan and the whatever Nancy Drew one? What are those about, and why do you like them so much?
Well, like I said, the Warriors. That one, Warrior Cats. The one Stranger in the Sky Clan. It's about this cat. He's the leader of the clan, and she's pregnant, and then she has her kids. I call them kittens, then there's this guy at this house because some of their cats also live in houses, but
so not the whole plot, but just the overview. What exactly in that plot made it your favorite book this year, or this school year, or not this summer? I'm so bad. Yeah. So what exactly, what morals, why was it really your favorite, in general?
I don't know. I like all of them, but I like that one more because
she has kittens.
Yeah, I like that stuff a lot.
Yeah. So I did read that one, and I thought it was pretty interesting. I did like the other ones a little bit more, but that one was good.
I haven't read all of them yet. So
yeah, so what's the Nancy Drew books, if you're not familiar with Nancy Drew, it's very famous mystery series, and they're all pretty good. I don't know. I haven't read them.
You don't read them.
I don't read mystery.
Those aren't really her type of book, but they're just about mysteries, and Nancy Drew is just a famous detective that everyone knows in her town. I actually don't really know where she lives, just what state.
Alright, so I really surprised myself, and every single week I read a book, I just finished it, within the week I got it. So for A Book of a Thousand Days, I was starting to read that when I last talked to you guys. That is now one of my favorite Shannon Hale books. It is so complex, and it's a little bit, I'd read it if you're a little bit, like, you have to be a teenager to read it. I wouldn't recommend it to younger kids. But it was really, really good. It was like, I knew what was going to happen, but it seemed like, it got me excited, because it was like, the romance in it wasn't even like heavily romance, but like, the plot was just so dramatic, and like, I loved it. And it really got me into like I didn't think I would like Asian stories as much, but it was an Asian story, and I really liked it. So, that was probably a 9.5 out of 10 book for me. That was just the way it was written. Just like, such a good book. Totally recommend. So that's Book of a Thousand Days by Shannon Hale. The second book, I read that one in 3 days. The second book I read was Lion for the Emperor, which I read in like less than a week also. I read all these super quickly. That one was also good. It was all basically on, like, in the same scene, or like they're all on a boat the whole time, basically. And it wasn't bad, but it wasn't my favorite book this year. Gemma started the first book for that series, and then she quit.
Yeah, I didn't. Cecilia did say it's not very interesting in the beginning. You have to get into it. I'm very picky about what I read.
Yeah, but I liked the ending. It was interesting enough to keep reading, but it wasn't as interesting as Book of a Thousand Days. So that one was probably a 6 out of 10, which is still pretty high. But yeah. So that's Lion for the Emperor, and I read that in less than a week. And then Waking Rose, which I read in like a week and a half. I really liked that one. I don't really know why. It was like Sleeping Beauty's story, basically, but in modern day time. And it's like more Catholic, so it's like anti-abortion and stuff. And it actually talked about real world problems and problems with like doctors. There's a lot of references and like things that, like, I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain. Like, there are things that connected with, like, me personally, and, like, things that were going on. Like, there's just a lot of connections. But I really liked it, and I'd say it's probably an 8 out of 10 book. It was better than the one before it. And that's by Regina Doman. I figured out how to say her last name. So, and I did actually finish The Spartan too, because I was reading that. That was before. I think that's a 5 out of 10 book. It was just too long. I couldn't read it for super long. But, yeah. And then I actually just finished today. I read The Goose Girl. And that wasn't actually originally on my list. But I chose to read it because I want to start reading the Books of Bayern. And, yeah. That's what's by Shannon Hale.
I don't know. As Cecilia told me that, well, one of our cousins recommended a book to Cecilia, and it's called The Inheritance Games. But like, it seems like very popular because at our library, like, all of them like not available because people were reading them right now. So Cecilia wants to start reading that.
Yeah. I have a plan for after I read all these books, because I didn't realize I was going to read them so fast. I expected I wasn't going to, but I've been reading them one at a time, and like, I'm going to be starting to reread The Hunger Games probably today, and I want to try to beat my record. And my cousin recommended the Mistborn series, so I'm also going to try that, and obviously the Inheritance Games, which they all seem like they're like series and things like that, so I can start them, and if I don't love them, I don't need to finish them. But just like reading the first book. So I have something to read during the school year. But yeah, other than that, all the books I've read so far have been so well done. I have genuinely loved reading them. And I think, Gemma, you've enjoyed all the books you've read too, because you've been reading a lot.
Yeah, I have been reading more this summer than I did this school year, for sure.
Yeah. We have a summer reading program thing, and that's kind of our encouragement to read a lot more. So it's fun, because you can read and, like, you get prizes for it.
Like, so teens is harder than, like, the ones for the younger ones. So we have to read, like, 6 hours, but we get, like, prizes, so.
Yeah. It's, like, books I've read in, like, during the school year, the books I read weren't bad. I felt like reading them all at once. Like, I read, like, 5 books at a time. It just was, like, a lot, and I didn't finish them as quickly. So I actually like just reading them, like, one at a time. Do you want to focus on one book in particular to talk about more this episode?
Yeah.
Which book?
Warrior
Cats. Okay, so I haven't read the series of the Warrior Cats. We've only read the graphic novels. They are pretty good. They're about cats, so, like, if you don't like cats, you might not like them. But it gives you a different perspective of, like, what cats are like. They did their research pretty well. So, because we have a cat, so I'm just thinking maybe they hate being with humans. Maybe she wants to be outside and, like, do her own thing. But I don't think she does. She's pretty lazy. But it's interesting to get a different idea of, like, what cats think and what they do and stuff. So it's interesting. But it's also, there's, like, drama in these cat clans and stuff that you wouldn't expect to find. And you're like, oh, it's, like, a big deal if you do this or something. And the author really thought it out well. I forget who wrote it.
Aaron Hunter.
Yeah, Aaron Hunter. So yeah, those are the books we've read and the books we're gonna read. I didn't really talk too much about the Goose Girl. That was also really well done. It was a lot like Book of a Thousand Days and Princess Academy combined. It was very similar to some other, like, books by Shannon Hale. But I did like it, and I read it within the week, too. So, yeah. Well, that's probably all we're going to talk about today. It's a short episode, but we'll probably make another episode next month or something. But yeah, thanks guys for listening, and
Always like and subscribe.
yeah, share this podcast with people who you know and they want to read different books and are interested in the topics we talk about. So yeah, thanks so much for listening. We are going to sign off now, but join us next time for our next episode, and we'll see you there.